So I don't know if you've heard about this or not, but Marvel is doing story podcasts.
I have heard about that.
Yeah. So
Great.
Yeah.
More competition.
Yeah, I know. They have like I think 2 out that star Wolverine, and those have been pretty successful. So now they're doing another one with I believe the Marvel's comics run that was it Kurt Busiek he did, and I just read that they had cast it, and Ethan Peck is playing Mr. Fantastic for that.
Yeah, he didn't tell us about that.
No, he didn't. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and Cliff Smith is going to be in it.
Who's Cliff Smith?
Let's see. How do you spell his name? Method. Man.
Oh yes, that's
he's
right.
He's done the Dwayne the Rock Johnson transition to
be acting,
I guess.
Yes, that's right. I did see that as well.
Look,
so
you put down Ice Cube is still. Do you know Ice Cube's name?
No,
he's Ice Cube.
I don't. Exactly.
Yeah, and he's been in more movies than all these people put together.
Yeah, I know.
So what the hell?
I think some people are like, well, now that I'm acting, I want people to take me more seriously.
I want people to take me more seriously.
Yeah, so
get all those deodorant commercials off the air.
Exactly.
Come on. I'm sorry, I can't talk to you anymore. Other guy that was in those commercials. Who's the other goofy member of Wu-Tang?
You're asking the wrong person.
That's
I have
alive.
No idea.
Not ODB. R.I.P.
I don't know. Is Rizzo pretty goofy? Like, he's like one of the only other ones I know.
It's like a different kind of goofy.
Okay.
In the future, some show about the
Wu-Tang
Clan, I guess. We'll hit that someday.
All right.
It's so weird because here's something that is defined. No shade to Kurt Busiek.
No.
Great writing in that series, but it is really defined. I think he was pitched on the painting of Alex Ross.
Oh, yeah,
so,
yeah.
Wow, what a visual buffet for the eyes. Now let's make it a podcast.
Fair point.
I mean, it's one thing to have, and I don't know who's voicing it. I'm just assuming it's Steve Bloom or something like that. But it's like, I don't know what's going on here in the Canadian North, but
right.
I'm going to find out who's doing these murders, bub, or
right.
whatever. Okay, fine. Yeah, it works. Snicked sound effect, not just some person saying snicked.
Right.
I don't know what they came up with for that, but does that sound like when you rub like 2 forks together? That's what I always thought.
Okay, I can see that.
When I get bored doing the dishes, I intertwine the tines of 2 forks and then go, shing.
Hey, Wolverine, baby.
But okay, all right. Well, they know or they're learning what we've always known, which is that this is like a fertile field for imagination and for storytelling. And if they don't hire me, I'm going to be very mad.
They should hire you.
A lot of writers and directors doing this kind of stuff. So anyway, I'd be great for it. Marvel, listen up. Hey, you know what's really great?
What?
Lane Serial Experiments.
Lane Serial Experiments? What are you talking about?
You know what Lane is.
Oh, the anime Lane?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
No, it's not. We took Lucky Charms and mixed it with Cocoa Puffs to find out if it's Serial, like the other podcast.
Right.
Which is still going?
I think so.
I don't know. I think Sarah Koenig is too big for her britches now, right? She's probably doing something else. Kind of like how they turned This American Life into a TV show. And it was like, that went for like 3 seasons, didn't it? It's just
something like that.
I'm Hourglass.
Yeah.
This is what I look like.
Right.
I look like my voice. Act 1.
I know, right?
Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't remember where we're going with this. Oh, yeah, Lane. So is Lane less, toyetic isn't the word, YouTubic than Neon Genesis Evangelion?
I don't know.
You can't drop any stone, rock, swing, animal of any type or kind without seeing a Neon Genesis Evangelion video, and Lane is not represented in the video sphere. Nobody's doing
that's true
video essays about Lane.
No, I don't think that most people are really talking about Lane anymore for whatever reason. But I don't know why that is.
I think it's less videoable. It's less gifable.
Oh, that could be. I mean, there's so much going on in that anime that maybe it's
explain Lane. What happens in Lane?
I couldn't possibly.
I can't either. I've seen it like 5 times.
Yeah, I know. it's great, but yeah, it's just incredibly difficult to explain what's going on. So I guess maybe from that standpoint, I could see why it just wouldn't work for YouTube, because like you'd show a clip and without context, how would it make sense?
Yeah, but think about what you're saying. Neon Genesis Evangelion?
Well, yeah, I know.
Why is that robot eating that other robot?
Right.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
No, it doesn't make any sense either. So I don't know. I don't know why that is.
Well, we got to turn this around.
Okay.
Let's get a lot of great clips of Lane wearing a bear suit.
Sure.
Maybe it's because the Evangelion kids are literally kids. They have to be. That's how it works.
Right.
Everybody's 14 in this scenario.
Yeah, I know, right?
So I thought maybe it's she comes with pedo bear like built in, like she's wearing a bear costume.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's not
now,
that she's a kid.
Evangelion is problematic.
Yeah, I know.
A lot of sexualization going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I bring up Lane because I feel like Lane, because I'm sitting in my studio, and like Lane in the later episodes of the show, I'm just surrounded by cables and screens.
Yeah.
And just feel like, get me a bear onesie and we'll be good to go. Doing our best. A lot of growth going on here at the show.
Yes.
And at the network,
in a good way.
In particular, two announcements, one small, one big. I wanted to announce that I'll be on the Social Minute podcast.
Yes.
Coming up pretty soon.
Very exciting.
It won't be for a little while, but it's a podcast that goes minute by minute through The Social Network.
Yes. The movie, obviously.
Yes, the movie.
Yeah.
Well, what did you think of it?
I know. I just clarifying in case anybody in the audience wasn't sure. So
what were they thinking?
I don't know.
I don't understand.
I just felt like the need to put that on there.
All right. Well, I don't know what it would be confused with, unless maybe it was the book, which was what was it, The Accidental Billionaires or whatever that it was based on,
sure.
which I haven't actually read, and I don't know if I'll end up reading it before the movie. I kind of want to go in clean. For anybody who doesn't know, the minute by minute sort of thing was, I don't know who started it, but it was probably popularized, made most famous by the Star Wars Minute, a podcast that goes minute by minute through the Star Wars.
Yes.
The Star Wars.
The Star Wars.
You know them, yeah. And then, of course, I've gone on to many other things. I had one of the hosts of that podcast, Pete the Retailer, on Enterprising Individuals a little while back.
Yes, you did.
Did I talk about the Star Trek show? Oh, no.
What's going to happen?
A lot more, because Just Enough Trope is cohering as a network even more and more, which is the second announcement. We have just onboarded a new podcast, not new, brand new, because they've been going in on their own for a while.
Right.
But they are now in the Just Enough Trope family, a podcast called Virtual Theater.
Yes.
At Virtual Theater X on Twitter, which is a show that talks about movies, go figure, but also it's video games. It's video game movies. Movies that were inspired by video games, adapted from video games, that sort of thing.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah. And if you're looking to check that out, you can find it, like I said, on Twitter at Virtual Theater X. They just did basically the granddaddy of. I hope they continue after this.
Yeah.
Did I buy a lemon?
Oh, I don't think you did.
That's about to pull into the station or the graveyard, because they just did Super Mario Brothers the movie.
Oh, well, there you go.
Which, if I can believe the marketing material, ain't no game. Which is like the granddaddy opus of all video game movies.
Yeah, so, I think so. I think that's like the huge one.
Host Gooey Fame and Andy get down and talk about video game movies. Then they've got plenty of grist coming up for the mill. You know, the Sonic the Hedgehog thing alone.
Oh yeah,
has given
for
them
sure.
plenty to talk about.
Yeah.
And they talk about those films. They talk about sort of the world of video games and news about video game movies and that sort of thing. It's a very, very entertaining show, so check them out.
It sounds awesome.
You better go check them out. What about you, Laffy? What's going on?
What about me? What's going on? Well, I don't know if we should talk about anything. Well,
sounds great.
We're working on something that I don't feel like we can talk about just yet. But something else is in the works for Just Enough Trope, probably for our Patreon members.
Talk about it right now.
Oh, okay.
It's literally trying to get somebody to buy something.
All right. We are going through and watching Sailor Moon from the beginning, all the episodes in Japanese with subtitles. And I've watched Sailor Moon before. I love Sailor Moon. And Cal is...
I've seen a lot of hentai.
It's not hentai.
So I'm coming at this from a different perspective.
Yes. But I believe we are going to be calling it Sailor Noob. Yes. Because Cal is new. Yeah.
Because I put my foot down.
But it should be a lot of fun. We'll have some recurring segments on the show, and we'll just talk about just about everything you could talk about in an episode of Sailor Moon, which honestly I feel like there's a lot there. So.
Yeah, I think there's a lot there too. Just doing preliminary research, trying to familiarize myself with this show I've known about my entire life, but I've never actually watched. Mm-hmm. There is a lot of material. I learned about the different... It's all one thing, but there's different sort of series.
Yes.
That's kind of like Dragon Ball Z type thing.
Yeah. It's
and
similar.
The way that it's evolved, and its manga roots and everything.
Yes.
And so, yeah, it's going to be a big education for me. That's going to be on our Patreon, which, if you're confused as to what it is and who we are, we're the Just Enough Trope podcast. That's got to be a new record. I'm your host, Calavan, joined as always by my co-host.
Hi, I'm Mikan Hana.
Informal over here, but we're very formal at our Patreon. Something that has been extant for a while, but we are looking to fill out now that we have to take things seriously because we are real deal podcasters. So be looking for that, and be looking for other things as far as that goes over the days and weeks. Patreon.com/Just Enough Trope. One more thing, we have a Discord.
Oh, yeah, that's a new thing for us.
That's those little machines you can get. I think they have an app now where you can listen to somebody on the phone and you can tell if they're lying or if they're distressed. You can hear it in their voice patterns.
Great.
My app tells me you don't know what Discord is.
I kind of know what it is, but I know what it is from a negative thing because there was a shooter in a more recent thing that had a thing on Discord.
Well,
so
you just killed the announcement of our Discord.
I just wasn't trying to do that. That's why didn't want to say anything.
I don't even know what to do with this now.
Okay, let's erase it.
What you should have said was nothing.
I know. I should have just said nothing.
It's a new thing, says the old man.
Okay.
It's a new way to communicate with people.
Okay.
It's a chat room.
Yeah, okay.
I have had limited exposure to it, mostly through online gaming.
Oh, okay.
Back in the old days, you would play a game, and then you would type, "Hey, don't TK me, noob," or whatever, and then it would come up on the bottom of the screen. And then later on, as we got off of dial-up and got onto broadband or Ethernet, then it turned into, there's TeamSpeak. There's these programs that are separate programs that allow you to talk to your teammates and the people that you're playing this game with. And Discord has taken it and just run all the way with it. It's like a dedicated app that allows chatting. It allows by text. It allows voice. It's like texting. It's like a chat room of old.
Sure.
Only it's audio enabled, so you can talk. And I'm sitting here explaining it. I'm just explaining it for people my age. Everybody knows what this is. And it also features integration. This is not an ad either. It features integration with a lot of games. So you'd think, well, I have to have this separate thing running, and do I have to alt tab out of it to do something else?
Right.
You can integrate it into a lot of games that are playing now.
Oh,
so it's just sort of there and doing what you need to do. So you can yell at those noobs that keep TKing.
Sure.
And so anyway, we have a dedicated chat room on that. It's called Just Enough Trope. You can find it by searching for it on Discord. And yeah, we're just, come one, come all, ringing the bell. Listeners, people that want to come and chat and talk about stuff. We'll be on at certain times to chat with people as well, and just creating an online space like we have on our Twitter, like we have in our Facebook group.
Right.
Both of those at Just Enough Trope on their respective platforms. Yeah, just you got to stay where the kids are. You got to stay.
I got to stay
on
fresh.
top of things. You got to stay fresh. Very fresh.
Yes. So fresh and so clean.
Yes. Right in that crisper drawer.
Right.
So that's what we're doing there. So anyway, join us. Keep it respectful.
Yes, please.
Don't, properties and things that don't exist, that aren't real people, go ham.
Yeah.
Not John Ham.
No.
But that reminds me of, if you want to, just go off on Black Mirror, go for it. But if you want to talk about Charlie Booker, the guy that made Black Mirror, be respectful. You can respectfully tell somebody that they're washed up.
Sure. Yeah. Respectfully speaking,
I have Hallmark cards made up for that purpose.
Yeah, right?
My app is spiking again.
Oh, no.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
All right. Let's do the news. All right. Well, speaking of Star Trek, and I'm going to go to StarTrek.com/hey, we're talking about Star Trek. To find out about, you can go to enterprisingindividuals.com to catch our Enterprising Individuals podcast about Star Trek. I don't need to tell you anything else. It is exciting to be a Star Trek fan right now. Maybe a little scary. Maybe it's a little
bit of both, I think.
Jesse Spano excited and scared at the same time.
Yeah.
Because CBS and Viacom are finally merging.
Yeah.
The only thing that stood in the way was that horrible, horrible sex criminal, Les Moonves.
I know, right?
But sex crim aside, maybe he knew what he was talking about business-wise.
About not merging them?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Because one of those is a powerful brand and one of those is not.
Right.
So we'll see what happens. The upshot is that Star Trek, the TV show, and Star Trek, the movie franchise, are now under the same roof.
Yeah,
I feel like it was a dearth of interest, a dearth of on both the part of the audience and the creators, a dearth of ideas. I don't feel like the licensing was ever the real problem here.
No.
I think people are making a really big deal out of this. Mm-hmm. But in the same way that when I buy a smartwatch or I get a gym membership and I go to the gym for 2 weeks and then I never go back ever after that, mm-hmm. I think that this will inspire them to create more.
Okay.
Because you always could have, if you wanted, nobody was writing Star Trek Enterprise. It was like, all right, and then we'll have Archer go, well, let's go visit Captain Picard in a movie or something. And then some guy in a suit comes in and goes, no, you can't do that. That never happened, right? Nobody ever, if they wanted to make this happen, if Spider-Man can appear in an MCU film, you can make your little Star Trek TV toys play with your movie toys.
Right.
But they never did. But now they will. And oh my goodness, they're going to.
Yeah, I could see that.
Here are my big predictions
for
this merger. We will absolutely get, well, hold on. What we may 75% chance we'll get a Patrick Stewart Picard film.
Okay.
Like maybe we'll do 2 seasons of Picard, and then we'll transition immediately to a film. I bet they are kicking themselves right now. Because that they couldn't do a movie.
Right.
They just wrapped up a season of TV, the first season of Star Trek Picard, and I bet they're like, oh, we could have had a V8.
Right.
But they are going to get that V8.
Right.
Because a problem with Star Trek films is that, Star Wars is enshrined, is canonized as, a blockbuster, one of the first blockbusters. It'll never, as bad as it gets, and it's going to get real bad. Yeah. People will always go. Star Trek, the same thing. People go if they're interested. People go if it looks good. People go if they're fans. Those fans are still around. Yeah. You want the kids' money, but you can take old man's monies too. Yeah. And old women. And Star Trek: The Next Generation is a unbridled success in the history of television. For sure. It was so popular that there were no Trekkies. Everybody watched Star Trek. Yeah. When it was on. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter who you are. You are a MIT scientist or you own a tire shop or something like that.
Right,
both noble professions. And they're like, you see that Data did? Oh boy, he's so crazy. Like, everybody was watching this show. I know. And all those people are now 25, 30 years older and they've got money and they want to go see a movie. You put Captain Picard in a TNG movie, people are going to go see that.
I agree with you.
So we're clearly going to get that. And this next prediction is balanced kind of on the first one, but we'll see. No matter what happens, we're absolutely getting a TNG movie reboot. Okay. That's just going to happen.
Okay. Do you think...
all the hemming and hawing over Hemsworth and putting Chris Pine in the role of Captain Kirk, they did it.
Yeah, right.
So now you've got J.J. Light, Alex Kurtzman. They're absolutely going to do this, right? They're just going to find some bald guy, and we're going to do, and whether it's the next generation in the future of the Kelvin universe. So it's going to be, you've already got license because it's a different timeline, and 87 years have passed.
Right.
To sort of do whatever you want. It's just going to happen.
Yeah. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that because,
I'm horrified.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
scary.
What are you going to take Jar Jar away from kids with a little kid with a backpack like Jar Jar?
Of course not.
No, it's not for you anymore.
Right.
So I'm announcing the end of Enterprising Individuals on the show.
Stop
I don't know. Well, we'll see. But we are going into this is a full franchising, a new frontier.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at some person who's like, the only real Mickey Mouse is Steamboat Willie, and they don't like, anything else.
Right.
So, well, what are you talking about?
Right.
But if somebody were to say, boy, Mickey Mouse is sure commoditized, Disney's really turned that into, a brouhaha of exploitation.
Well, that's true. They have.
Mickey hasn't even been in a cartoon since God knows when.
Yeah, I know, but he's still his face is everywhere.
Yeah. Why don't they make a Mickey movie?
That's a good question. I don't know why.
It's all self-aware. He comes to the real world, and he learns about Facebook or something like that.
That would be really weird and trippy.
It's amazing this hasn't happened yet. And you'd say it's because Disney is careful with their properties. And I'd say, how careful are they?
Yeah,
They're careful with Mickey.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that they're perfectly willing to F out to the nth degree.
Yeah, I know, like the new Lion King, for example.
Yeah. Like the new Lion King.
It's just completely unnecessary.
Or all the Disney princesses going right under the Ralph Breaks the Internet bus.
Yeah, I know.
That part was cute. Whatever.
I know. Do you think, just going back to the
I think
merger,
I'm going to blow my nose.
Okay. Do you think that there will be a Discovery film as well?
Maybe someday. I think that now that it's not the only show on, I think it's great if you like it. I myself like it, but I think we can now be honest with ourselves about its limited appeal.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with Star Trek, and it doesn't really have anything to do with anybody who is on that show or writes that show. But the way that we are right now is people want things they recognize. And sure, Star Trek is something that you recognize.
Right.
But I think if you just day one did a TNG reboot, you'd have some people that complain, but they'd watch it anyway, and we'd be 4 seasons into our TNG reboot and going in a totally different direction, And I think that it's tough to take a brand new, people can hear that, to take a brand new property like Discovery, and they've done the work. They've carved it out. They've built it brick by brick, and it's people watch it.
Yeah.
But it's never going up on the big board. Who knows, 10, 15 years, how people will feel, but it's just not going to go on the board of all-time greatest Trek projects.
Okay. That's all right. It doesn't have to.
Do you see what we left behind in the 33rd century, 25 years from now, a documentary where still looks great. Sonequa Martin Green is reading emails about how, Discovery, I can't believe it. A Chinese captain or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's ironic because we all treasure Discovery as this thing that changed our lives 25 years ago. Yeah.
I know.
Do you think that's going to happen?
No, I don't necessarily think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think that the DS9 doc happened largely because it was...
I can hear it when I spell it too.
Oh, okay. But stop. Largely because it was kind of like people didn't like it at first, and then they really liked it.
She gets it. Yeah, she's just restating the point.
All right.
That shows that she gets it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my point, man. So anyway, we'll see what happens with that. But yes, the Disneyfying of Star Trek begins in earnest.
Yes.
Ernest goes to Romulus. Speaking of Disney, let's...
Yes.
Boy, it's all Disney news after this, so get ready. We kind of started with Disney news.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Disney news all the way down, starting with Star Wars. It looks like it's going to be a thing now. Ewan McGregor will return for an Obi-Wan Kenobi show on Disney+. I read about
that, yeah. Okay.
How old was Alec Guinness when he played Obi-Wan?
Oh, that's a good question.
60s.
I would say 60s,
okay.
yeah.
And Ewan McGregor's like 50.
Is he really?
He must be.
Wow, that's like hard to believe.
All right, let's do the work.
I could see it.
Vamp while I look it up. I'm not going to look it up.
You're not
You look it up, listeners.
So, he's got time, to play him.
He has done so much, from The Ghostwriter to The Island to picking all of his worst movies.
Yeah, you are.
Actually, I heard The Ghostwriter is actually pretty good.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't believe that. Was that wasn't a Polanski film, was it?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Another thing I'd have to look up.
Don't bother.
Okay.
He's done it all. He's done the highs and the lows.
He's done TV. He was just on what's it called? Fargo.
Yeah.
And he won Emmy for that, I think.
Sure. So I mean, he's done everything, and then he's always had this Star Wars thing. I mean, he doesn't do like action, or he doesn't do like a lot of schlock or anything like that. He's just but he's always kind of kept that like Star Wars thing hip pocketed.
Sure.
And so now, as he goes into, I mean, he's not going to retire, but as he goes into like the later phase of his career, he could just saddle up and just do these Obi-Wan Kenobi thing.
Yeah, I think.
I'm glad I kept this.
Well, apparently,
no
and
one
I
wants
guess
to
I've
see
heard
my ass anymore.
Right. Well, I guess I heard rumors that they were talking about making an Obi-Wan film for a while.
Right, but that's part of our Disney news, which is TV is their new film.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because the mouse has put on Cerebro and detects some new shift in content delivery that this is where you can put it, or this is where it's most profitable, or they're just going, here is our slate of films for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Let's cut that slate in half and take things that people absolutely would pay $500 million at the box office to see, to get them to pay $500 million worth of subscribes to our Disney Plus.
Right.
I think it's that one.
Well, it might be that one. I also read it's partially because Solo was not as successful as they were hoping.
And Star Wars is also being somewhat careful moving forward.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, we've got that. We've got the new, beyond the shows that we know about for Disney Plus, there is a bunch of new shows in development as well.
Yes.
Jeff Loeb was talking to Deadline recently and talking about spinning off a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah.
Even doing a Marvel Knights show.
Huh.
Which is like, so you mean all the Netflix stuff, right?
Like the Defenders, yeah.
Yeah,
right.
There's nobody left in Marvel Knights. I guess we're going to get a Moon Knight show, right? That's what this means.
I guess.
People keep saying Moon Knight movie. Well,
I know.
Now we'll get a Moon Knight show. But we're out of... There isn't anybody else. Morbius, the living vampire?
Yeah.
He's in a Sony movie.
I know. Well, like... I read an article, and this might be the same article or related, but somebody at Marvel said that something big is coming to the TV shows, and people were speculating, like, do they mean like physically big? Like, do they mean like there's going to be like a Hulk TV show?
Yeah.
Or is there the Ms. Marvel show? Is that going to be a show? Because they've been talking about that property. They didn't
say big and ing. They said big.
I know. But I'm just saying that's where people are speculating. So,
well, we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't think that just because you have a idea that might not make it as a movie, you should do it as a TV show.
Right.
Ask
it
Sci-Fi,
doesn't necessarily mean
who just canceled Krypton after being on for 2 years and nobody watching it.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe not everything is a good idea.
This is true.
And then there's some things that aren't good ideas, but you just don't have the will or skill to produce. Like, I think an Inhumans movie would have done fine, but instead you pissed it out on TV,
and you did it poorly.
Yeah.
I think that, like, what was I gonna say?
About TV.
I was trying to, like. Yeah, I mean, like, I agree with what you're saying. Like, just because it doesn't work as a movie doesn't mean it's going to be successful as a TV show. I mean, for example, like, they're going to be tackling, like, Sandman for TV. And, like, even though I think it's better suited for TV, I still think it's, like, a lot to try to make into a TV show. And maybe it's not something that you can do successfully. I don't know. So,
but it's definitely the best platform for Sandman.
It is.
Specifically because Sandman embraces the whole, sure, you've got story arcs, but it embraces the whole idea of front page of the cover of a comic opens, 22 pages later,
right,
story's over. So you got a TV show that you can do that with.
Right. No, I get it. Yeah.
How much are we out of steam?
I don't know that we're out of steam.
I think we're out of steam already.
No.
Let's talk about. Let's continue to talk about Disney. Speaking specifically about their properties obtained from the merger with Fox.
Yes.
There was a sort of public report, or like a first quarter post-merger report.
Okay, sure.
That Disney did, where they basically evaluated, like Bob Iger, the Disney CEO.
Yeah.
Basically gave like a diagnosis or just like an after action report about Fox's properties, the things that they had inherited from them.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's real bad.
They canceled a lot of films, didn't they?
Well, they did cancel a lot of films, but then they talked about the films that came out that were supposed to be big things from Fox, like Stuber and Dark Phoenix and all these other things. And it's like, it's bleak. Like, it's a bleak sort of outlook.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, man.
Anybody could have told you that.
Movies
Disney.
are pretty bad in general right now.
Yeah.
And Fox is right up there on the top of the list for, making bad films. So
absolutely.
I don't know what you want.
Like, I don't know why they're surprised.
You bought this thing for the properties, not for what they were putting out.
Right.
But I think it was just a call to the people who, changed the thing on their door from Fox to Disney, but still work there, that like, you guys want to keep working here, then we got to pick it up a little bit.
Right. Exactly. I would be a little scared if I were them, but like my job might be going away.
Well, I think if you do a bad job, you should be scared.
Yeah. Fair.
I mean, it doesn't work in government.
No.
But
unfortunately.
Yeah. So to that end, we're looking at a reboot of the Alien series.
Why?
Through Disney. Yes.
Through Disney. That just seems like a bad idea. Like aliens should be rated R. And also, why are you redoing it? Like, the first two films in that series are classics.
Yeah, well, I know. Why would you make any movie past the first one? You were taking it into your own hands to do a second one that worked out okay because of the sequel, King James Cameron. But yeah, I mean, it's just going to happen. It's from an inside source. I'm getting this specifically from this website. We got this covered. Their confirmation of this is that their same source said that there would be an Aladdin sequel, a live-action Aladdin sequel, which has now been confirmed.
Well, right.
So they think that they can trust it. It is being developed as a rebooted franchise. That's pretty much all we know at this point. But yeah,
wow.
Is the strength of Alien? First of all, there is no strength in Alien. Everything past the first two sucks.
Right.
But is the strength in it the continued existence of the persistent universe of Alien, or is it just Alien? Because if the first thing is true, then why is every movie afterwards that tries to add to the universe bad?
Yeah.
And if the second thing is true, why make any more of them? Now, the answer to the second question is money, but...
Well, right.
Yeah. Do you think there's any more blood in this stone?
Not particularly. I mean, what other stories are you going to tell? They're terrifying. They lay their eggs. They die. Their eggs hatch. There's more aliens. I mean, it's just...
I didn't mean specifically the life cycle of the alien creature, but I meant the franchise.
Well, I just mean it's like, it's scary and it's gross, but I don't think that like there's necessarily a lot there. And I think that Ripley is a really great character. And if you're rebooted, are you going to have Ripley in it? Or are you going to create a Ripley-like character? Like... how are you going to come at it? Are you going to have somebody be a scaredy cat instead of somebody who's brave? Like trying to hunt these things down. I guess I don't really know that it's going to be successful, like doing something else. Weren't there comics that were like alien comics?
Dark Horse had the Aliens license for a long time and did some really great things with it.
Didn't we read some of those? I feel like we read some of those.
We did.
And there was like one where they were in this commune or something like that, and like people had to go out to get something. I can't remember what it was, but for the commune, and people were being attacked by the aliens.
Yeah, so. I mean, it's we just changed the alien to any kind of monster. It's a horror movie. I mean, that's all it is, really.
Exactly.
I don't mean to like belittle it, but
no,
it works because it trades on tropes that are just ingrained into the medium, and so Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, what you pointed out, that we had a alien story in this comic that had nothing to do with LV-426
right,
or Ripley.
Yes,
the company was involved. That's sort of the big, villain of the entire thing.
Exactly.
So, TV show, alien anthology TV show.
I could see a TV show. I don't know if there's enough juice there to relaunch a franchise of films.
Well, you just relaunch it, and it's you've got a character named Ripley. She's played by
somebody else,
Alexandra Shipp or something like that.
Right.
That's what you do. But
okay. All right.
No,
I can't say I'm terribly excited about it.
It's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
As is the live-action Spider-Gwen movie.
You think that's a terrible idea?
It depends.
Okay.
I guess I said that just to get people's attention, but we've already got a Into the Spider-Verse sequel. We've got a female-centric Into the Spider-Verse sequel. Mm-hmm. So 2 sequels to Into the Spider-Verse.
Right.
We've got Morbius, we got Venom 2, it's all about universes. Over on Sony's side, they are also doing the exact same thing. They're pushing the movie-making machine to the limit to get all these things out. Spider-Gwen, here's the thing.
Okay.
I think that Robbie Robertson and the other guy,
I don't remember,
designed a very interesting universe over in Earth 3731 or whatever Gwen's Earth is, an Earth where everything is just a little different, like Le Big Mac in France.
Right.
You've got Spider Gwen or Spider Woman being bit by the spider instead of Peter becoming the lizard, but then basically being the dead one in her world,
right? And
like Daredevil is the Kingpin, and you've got all these little things that are different in the best kind of way if you're going to reboot and remix something.
Yeah.
And so people don't remember that. They just remember, Spider-Gwen, she's got blue shoes.
She's got a cool costume.
I want to cosplay.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah.
And they've done this thing where they just can't stop having her jump between universes because they really want to see how many eggs that are inside of this goose. Give me that knife.
Yeah.
So I think that they crafted like a really interesting story that is overshadowed by the fact that she always has to come and team up with Ms. Marvel and Miles Morales.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, if you guys could dig into that side, all the great world building they did in her film, that'd be great. Now, you can't because you're Sony, so you can't have female Black Captain America. You can't have Daredevil. You can't have all these other things that are part of her story.
Yeah.
What are you even going to do? What's it even about?
I don't know.
It's just her and Penny Parker or something like that. Get Nicolas Cage back.
Yeah, I mean, I like Spider-Gwen a lot, and I think the reason that they're doing this is because there are a lot of fans out there who like Spider-Gwen. She's hot right now. So I think they're like, let's have a Spider-Gwen movie. I don't know that they have a good take on it. And like you said, why does she always need...
I don't know if they had a good take on Into the Spider-Verse. There's a ballroom somewhere with a banner that says, people that didn't like Into the Spider-Verse. And it's me and Arnold White or whatever. What's that critic that shits on everything?
I don't know.
And we're just sitting there staring at each other. But
yeah,
that's us.
I mean, I liked the film, but I do think that it was not as great as people thought it was on like first viewing. Like there are definitely some issues within the film. Like I don't like how I like that Miles Morales is the main character. But I don't like that we keep seeing him fail over and over and over again.
We don't need to go into our evaluation of Into the Spider-Verse.
All right. But I think there's real potential to have a great story with Spider-Gwen. But like you said, I don't know how they're going to do it.
Yeah, I don't know either. But that's not what we got into this to talk about. Anything else?
No, I don't got anything else.
Well, here's my squirrel for this week.
Okay.
G.I. Joe is rebooting, or at least they are trying to expand the property because this is Paramount's like, we want in on this too.
Yeah.
Star Trek's not enough.
Right.
So they're going to do a Snake Eyes spin-off movie. Snake Eyes, for kids of a certain age, will know is the ninja hero of G.I. Joe, one of the Joes. And they're going to cast Henry Golding as Snake Eyes.
Oh, okay. Crazy Rich Asians.
Yes.
Henry Golding.
Now, a lot of people would say, that's a damn fine-looking man. Why are you going to put a mask on
Cover
him?
his face.
And also, he's horribly scarred. Like, Snake Eyes was like the original Deadpool.
Okay. All right.
He's a guy with swords with a scarred face that wears a mask.
Yeah,
Only
that
he's the
sounds
merc
like Deadpool.
without a mouth. He doesn't talk.
Okay.
So this guy's like deep, rich, basso profundo voice, his crazy rich abs and crazy rich hair. And throw a mask on that guy, don't say a word.
Yeah, that's that is an interesting point that you bring up there. Like, so yeah, I feel a little bad. But okay. Well, this seems like they're going for a toyetic feel here. Like, there's going to be a lot more toys coming out because of this film, don't you think? Not so much.
Wait, you're just going off of it being G.I. Joe?
Well, and like...
This is a reverse toyetic situation.
Oh, you think so?
Yes.
Okay.
This is a strawberry shortcake movie. We're a greeting card company. We made some toys. Now let's push a movie out here.
Okay.
G.I. Joe is the same thing. It was a, toy line with a TV show that was created to promote it.
Right.
But then come on and tell you at the end that fires are bad or something like that. And so therefore they satisfy the government's requirement for educational content in your toy commercials.
Sure.
And the fact that they keep wanting to make it into a movie thing is, I don't know. Did you ever see the G.I. Joe movies?
I don't think I ever did.
The first one is not great.
Okay.
But they really gave it a shot. They really came at it and swung with all their might into it.
Sure.
So it's got good parts. The second one is the cynical cash-in, where The Rock is in it or whatever. Sorry, Rocky, but
okay.
And it's not great, but it's got great parts. And the best part of G.I. Joe Retaliation is the Snake Eyes Storm Shadow parts.
Oh, okay.
There's like this awesome ninja fight like on a mountain where they're swinging on bungee cords and like fighting.
Oh my goodness.
And Ray Park plays Snake Eyes.
Okay.
So they're going to get the race right this time, I guess, which is good. Henry Golding will just be, okay, pull the mask on, and then Ray Park will step in, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I could see that.
How's Ray Park doing?
I have no idea.
He's getting up there.
Yeah.
He's like the white Jackie Chan. Can he still do this stuff?
That's a good question. I just never know, like, what age do you, like, hang up your karate belt
and
or something?
What age do you hang up your karate belt? Oh,
like,
boy.
Do you retire?
You gotta get in a few years.
Or do you just keep on going?
I gotta get that glass case, that golden hook, and put my karate belt on. Well, we didn't even have time to get into it, really what we were going to talk about in our feature today. Because we were busy selling things. That's the future of the show, everybody. Speaking of universes and expanding, it's right here. We're never hanging up our karate belts. We're going the whole way with this thing. But what we're going to talk about today, what we're talking about right now is, it's sort of like, what do you call it? It's just like favorite TV. It's not fall yet, but the TV shows are coming back.
The TV
leaves
comeback.
Are turning,
I don't
and
know.
the TVs are turning to the right stations to catch the return of many new shows. And we thought that we would take some time to talk about some shows that we've talked about in the past. Mm-hmm. Shows that aren't necessarily on everybody's radar. So this is like your chance to catch up on it.
Yes.
And check it out. The water cooler show, basically. Where we talk about, hey, did you see the something? Did you see a popular reality show?
Oh, Mr. Good One. Mr. Good One.
Yeah. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about 3 shows in particular on this one. Is it really? It's a karate belt. I guess it is just. There's a name for it, right?
I don't know. I just thought it was
just
a karate
part of your
belt.
gi.
Yeah,
but
right?
anyway, so we're talking about 3 different shows. Lodge 49 has returned for its 2nd season, as has Mindhunters for a 2nd season.
Yes.
That's not exactly a show that people don't know about, but we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
And Legion has returned for its 3rd and final season.
Yes.
We'll be talking about all 3 of those. Why, for you, are these shows worth watching?
Okay. Well, I think that all of them have really strong storylines. I think they have great writing. And then I also think that it's really great casting, and I really enjoy the characters. I think all of these shows are kind of character driven to an extent. I mean, maybe not. Yeah, no, I would say it's character driven in Legion. But maybe it's more story.
It pushes your premise to the breaking point.
Yes.
But yes, under all the trippy visuals.
Yes.
And it's like, Brian Fuller, are you there?
I know, right?
Is that you? Are you wearing a Noah Hawley mask? It's very much about long swaths of the show are given to this exploration of visual stuff. Like sometimes, what happens in the episode could be related in 60 seconds, but then we've got an hour show.
Yeah,
but
that is true.
It brings you along the entire way. And yeah, everything that happens, at least for the main character, that's all true. As the show has moved on, I think we have really shed development for and I guess we're talking about Legion right now?
I guess we are.
I kind of wanted to save it for the end, but that's okay.
We can save it for the end.
No, talking about it right now.
All right.
Characters like Carrie and that is, their development has really
kind of
dropped
stopped
to the wayside.
Yeah.
As we just take an entire hour to just go around this, hippie complex where David is. Catching you up on Legion Season 3. Boy.
Where do you even start?
Desert boats.
Yes.
I don't even know. Legion is David Haller, the son of Professor X.
Yes.
In this TV version of the Fox universe, although I think they've said that it does take place in the X-Men cinematic universe.
I think so.
We'll just never see those guys.
Yeah.
And so, he is somebody who has had a rough life. He's been diagnosed as a paranoid schizophrenic.
Yes.
Which may or may not be true, but the truth of it is that he is a mutant with multiple personalities.
Yeah.
And each of those personalities has its own power set. Now, this is something the show has not really steered into. Instead, they've really steered into the idea that as one of the most powerful mutants on Earth, as the son of one of the most powerful mutants on Earth, he was a prime target for this character called the Shadow King.
Or Farouk.
Yeah. Who is a being of psionic energy that has existed for a long, long time. And this all checks out with the comics. Yeah. And so, but doesn't have a body, and so sort of jumps from body to body. And so he possessed David when he was a young boy. Time. And so as David was growing up, he, heard quote unquote voices, but he didn't know that he was a mutant, and he didn't know that he had this evil thing inside of him.
And he imagined a pet dog, which was
named King, which
Farouk.
We just should have just known.
I know, right?
The dog's name was King.
I know.
But anyway,
it was right there for us.
Very disappointed in myself. But so the first season was sort of struggling against that. The second season was, weird.
It was weird.
But the second season focused on this sort of time travel plot, in that his girlfriend Sid, named after Sid Barrett, was speaking to him from the future and basically intimating that David would somehow destroy the world.
Yeah, he would bring an end to the world
in the future. And so we're trying to prevent that in a sort of self-aware Terminator kind of scenario. At the same time, everybody is searching for Amal Farouk's body, the Shadow King's body, because for some reason, if he gets his body, he becomes more powerful. It's like, well, why'd you get rid of it in the first place?
Right.
It ends sort of ignominiously on this sort of controversial moment that I think a lot of people had a problem with. But I want to talk about right now, in that they basically found Farouk's body, defeated him, had him trapped, everything's great, and then David does something bad.
Yes.
Sid basically sees him. At this point, we believe that David is like, oh, he's unassuming, he's great, he's this nice guy.
He's a hero.
And we've kind of forgotten that what we've seen in the first season that there's darkness in him, and he basically brutally, captures. He goes overboard in capturing the Shadow King.
He does, and
Sid sees this darkness in him that she's afraid of, and he tries to reconcile with her, and she's like, I'm scared of you.
Yeah.
And so he basically changes her mind so that she's not scared of him.
Yeah. He goes into her mind,
which is bad enough, but just to make it manifest, they then have sex.
Right.
Which later on she becomes aware of because somebody tells her about it. I can't remember.
Yeah.
And so she knows that this has happened, and everybody on the good guys team confronts David and basically says, "Oh, sorry, spoilers for all of Legion up to this point."
Right.
And basically says, "Okay, we got the other bad guy, but maybe you're the real bad guy,
right? And
we need to capture you so we can figure out what to do with you,
right?
Or if you can be helped.
We can't trust you right now,
right?
Yeah.
And instead of going, yeah, you know what, I can't be trusted, David, as a lot of people do who are, possess ultimate power, basically just F's off, and brings Lenny with him, which I can't believe we're just now mentioning Lenny.
Yeah, I know.
But
played by Aubrey Plaza,
and disappears 2 parts unknown.
Yeah. Oh, and I should mention that David is played by
the Beast.
The Beast, yes, thank you.
Dan Stevens.
Dan Stevens, yeah.
Yeah, and so I heard a lot of people were really upset by what happened.
Yeah.
And I wasn't. I mean, I was appalled.
Yeah.
But, when a character does something bad in a fictional show, cancel the show.
Right.
This is part of the story.
Right.
And what I got out of it was you can have people in that episode, there are 2 guys floating through the desert singing Behind Blue Eyes and having like a psychic Big Trouble in Little China fight,
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you make the stakes real? You have to have them do things that are real to the people watching the show in order to understand, oh, he's bad. Like if he just uses his power to twist somebody's head off, which I think he did.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, it's comic book. But he has to do something real bad so you know that he's bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, so it's like, well, okay, he's canceled. He's a rapist or whatever. Yeah, he pretty much is a rapist. But if the person who, found out that he had done that was like, well, I didn't like that and I need him to apologize, but I don't feel like I was raped necessarily. It's just I don't want to make excuses for rapists here. They should probably cut this out. But it's like if you went out with your boyfriend and you guys got hammered and then you came home and you guys started having sex and at some point one or the other of you felt like you weren't really in there and you woke up the next morning and you were like, let's not do that again. That was weird. Instead of, you raped me.
Oh, right. I understand what you're saying.
Well, that right came a little fast. I think you should say something to the effect of, okay, well, you can have your opinion, but...
Okay, I mean, it is questionable for sure. I don't think he...
I just feel like Sid instead of just being like, this person has to be destroyed or I don't ever want to see them again, it was more like, this person needs help.
Yes, it was definitely more like that.
It's not that I wouldn't have had sex with him on my own.
Right.
But the fact that you mentally
changed my
raped
mind.
me basically. Yeah. Like we can't have you doing that.
No. And I can't trust you anymore.
That's my interpretation of what they wanted to do with that scene.
Yeah.
Because and it's important. Like this is a big deal right now.
It is. And
it should be because it's all the deals that it should have been for years past that are finally coming out now. Mm-hmm. So I think that, it's important that we are sensitive to this.
Absolutely.
But, they chose to tell this story right now. And I assume that they are doing it for good purposes.
Yeah.
And as we come back, so now we can talk about the episode. As we come back from the second season, we find a David who is doing everything he can to basically take back what he did.
Yeah. Exactly.
He should probably just apologize. And then
and then kind of see where that goes.
Go to jail.
Something.
Well, I mean,
rehabilitation.
That's my point about making the things that the mistakes that they make real to us, because how do you punish a mutant god? Does he go to jail?
Does he concede to having something put on him that controls his powers?
Right. But he is power mad, and yet he feels bad because he is looking for a way to undo this.
Yeah, and kind of get Sid back in
specifically,
his life.
With time travel.
Yes.
Which he is attempting to do by seeking out a time travel person.
Yes.
And he's done that in a new character.
Named Switch. So I just want to mention real quick.
Lenny's ears perked up.
Well,
and she's like, I like boys. And Lenny's like, great.
Yeah, I know. I had a squee moment because I realized I recognized the actress who played Switch. She was actually a member of Terrace House Hawaii, and she was a visual artist in that. No mention of acting or wanting to act, and she actually moved to Japan at the end of the show to pursue her visual arts. She was pretty good, but there was a guy who was on the show who was a struggling actor, and I bet he's so jealous that she got this show, you know?
I bet he's proud of her.
Oh, okay. All right. Maybe he is proud. That'd be a better way to go. But anyways, I just thought that was kind of interesting. Different career path, but I was happy to see her. I knew I recognized her from something.
What'd you think of the episode?
I liked it. I think it was weird and really trippy. And we basically follow Switch in the beginning, and it's a while until we get to characters that we already know and recognize. So I think that was an interesting choice because I think she's going to be a very important part of the season, because I think that time travel is going to be an important part of the season.
Which is like, can we... Let's give time travel a rest.
Oh, you think that's cheap? You think that's cheating?
No, I just think that it's such a trope that's just done over and over again.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. I am kind of curious though.
Plus, he's already the whole thing that Farouk is now. Did we just forget that he was the most evil man
guy?
Ever?
Yeah,
I'm
I
sure
know.
it's going to come out, and there's a long tradition of like X-Men villains like becoming heroes or becoming X-Men themselves. But what is he fought tooth and nail to stop from being captured. Now he's captured. I don't feel like they have the leverage over him that he's suddenly now like, I'm kind of the good guy. And it's like,
no,
it's an interesting reversal, but with only 10 episodes a season or whatever to make it happen. Like, I don't understand why he is.
I don't understand why he's there. No. They don't have a device on him.
We need to see
him.
a scene. We did see a scene where he meets Switch, but like we need to see a scene of him like by himself and like,
what's his deal?
When I get my hands on David, I'll have the power. I mean, I guess that's always sort of there, but it's an abrupt switch to him suddenly being the good guy.
I agree with you. And then like we see Sid and she's like, I'm going to shoot David. Like,
shoot David.
like she's obviously really pissed still. And like her way of dealing with it is like, no, I have to be there when you kill him. And I'm going to be the one who kills him. You know, it's such a heel turn. And I guess, I mean, I understand it.
Well,
but
you need, when half of your episode is a girl getting lost at a DSW or at a coat warehouse or whatever.
Right.
Then you have to have very simple, understandable motivations from the characters. Yeah. And so everything I just said about Sid being understanding that he is a person who needs help is bullshit, apparently, because she just wants to shotgun him to death.
Right.
But I think it is deeper than that.
I think you're right.
Here's what I think. I think that it is still one of the most visually arresting shows on television.
Oh, absolutely.
And somehow is also the best X-Men property I've ever seen.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that.
Sit down, X2. You sit down. Right. Have you tried not being X2? Because this tops it. In a world of psychics, in a world of people who can time travel and change dimensions and do all kinds of things, this delivers that experience, that world in the best way. And it's one of those shows where you can watch it for 20 minutes and go, nice job, guys. How much does it cost to have a bunch of PAs roll some coats around a white soundstage? Like, you saved a lot of money on this scene.
Yeah.
But then all that money goes right down the toilet when you get to the scene where the SWAT team like attacks the compound and people are being like they're being Thanos and they're being thrown through walls and people are shooting David and he's blocking the bullets and then twisting their heads off. And it's like, wow, they were saving the coat scene was, we can hire a bunch of like extras to sing this superorganism song or whatever.
Right.
And then do a dance with some coats. Cause later on we've got the CGI FS coming.
Exactly.
But it's just like the way that they balance that stuff is incredible.
It is.
And you don't need to explain anything. Like what's David's plan? Like he's thinking like the right person, the smart person will find this message and track these messages down, and then also they'll tune to the right station or whatever.
Yes.
And the station will have a message that can only be heard by somebody who can manipulate time because it's like too fast to understand. Although why not just record it and slow it down?
Right.
And so all these things will then allow this person to go to a coat shop, to a dry cleaners, where everybody will dance, and then you'll crawl through a tube that goes...
I know.
So are you being transported or teleported by like an ability of his or something like that? Clearly, it's all in service of the visuals.
Yes.
But it wows you with the visuals, but also everything serves the purpose of also telling that story. So you could have a time traveler like... Heroes, like Hero on Heroes.
Yeah.
Nice job, everybody. Look, Zach Penn has done a lot of good stuff. He just goes like he's gonna poop, and then he's back in time.
Yeah.
But what if a girl drew like a glowing door on a wall, and then she fell through it, and then was in a thing with the things that go, do 1 minute, 2 minutes? How far back in time do you want to go? Like, it's just. I gotta watch Fargo.
I know, right?
You got me.
It's
no interest in watching Fargo, but somebody who, I mean, he must be an X-Men comic book fan.
He has to be.
But the fact that you can go, okay, yeah, I see your the focused totality of my blah blah whatever. What if we did this though? Yeah. What if I channeled Brian Fuller doing an X-Men show?
I know.
And great.
I think it's great too that like. Switch has like this tape that she listens to, multiple tapes that tell her like how to time travel, so she's learning how to do it,
which we don't know what's going on with that.
No,
we don't know what's going on with her father and the robots and all this stuff. A lot
of tidbits. But I did think it was interesting that the tape warns her like don't go back too far because then the monster could get you, and it's kind of unclear what the monster is, but we've seen glowing eyes in the dark, in the distance.
Another effect that costs nothing and is totally chilling.
Right. But it just kind of reminded me of like the Shadow King. But
yeah,
Yeah,
I hope that it does feel like a repetition of that.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I hope it turns out a little bit different.
So
but I am kind of interested in that. But like, they are saying off the bat that you can do time travel, but there will be consequences if you don't do it right.
That's why I don't like time travel.
Yeah.
Yes. So you got that. You have David who is running this like cult. Basically.
Yeah.
And I like when Switch asks Lenny, like, is this a cult? She's like, yeah.
Yes. I know.
Yeah, it is.
It's pretty great.
And they're again, none of this has to make any sense. That's why I hate like X-Men Origins Wolverine has to sit and explain everything to you. This just has a giant sow, and I mean like the size of a Hummer.
Yeah. That
is expelling like this magic smoke from its teats.
Yeah.
There's something about we don't know what the water is, but new Rebecca or whatever her name is, the pregnant virgin now is like says, oh, it's life or something.
I think her name is Salmon, or that's like what they called her or whatever.
Oh yeah, but she used to be when they first in season 2 she was, because there was an old Vanessa or whatever her name was. And now she's new Vanessa. Or
okay.
But anyway, and so that is like, to me, that seems kind of like the blue stuff that David smokes in the first season, when and then Jane March starts doing it later on.
Yeah.
It's like an X-Men comic written by Chris Claremont, if the characters didn't spend half the book repeating what just happened.
Right.
Like if you just look at the Dark Phoenix saga, it's nuts. Like a bunch of mutants go to a dance club, and one of them has a fantasy that she is an S&M queen in the 1800s.
Yeah.
And she owns one of her friends as a slave. And then And then a girl that can walk through walls helps them escape from tubes.
Yeah.
And then like a fat guy makes a short guy with claws fall down to the sewer in the basement. And you're just like, what is happening?
Yeah.
You're aided by the fact that every episode those characters stop and go, well, I'm somebody who's having dreams because I think that I'm a person in the 1800s.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you took all those explanations out, you've got Legion.
Yeah, exactly. I think we're told something that the blue stuff is something that David makes somehow.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know
the pig?
how. Yeah.
And then we have the alchemist too.
Right. Which I can't remember his name now. It was something else kind of quippy. Everybody has a name, and I don't know if he's the one who like gives it to them because he calls like, no, you're Switch now.
Right.
So I don't know if everybody goes to him when they arrive and like he names them. Like, did he name himself?
That's what it seems like. The whole thing is, it's got a real like culty kind of vibe. Like,
yeah, it does.
This is important. Like, great, some hippie who's off his tits
right.
on mescaline gave me a dumb name. So
right,
I guess
exactly.
it's my name now.
Yeah.
Pussycat.
Yeah.
Or whatever all the Manson girls are called.
Yeah, I know.
It's very timely.
It is.
They were going to do this anyway, but it worked out real well. If you are watching the dark side of that in... I see. It's like Orange is the New Black. It's the cool thing now is to give the abbreviation for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Oh. That's a cool thing. Ointp.
Oh, yeah, that's a mouthful.
Yeah. So anyway, that is that.
Yes.
Recommend?
Oh,
clearly we can't shut up about it.
I 100% recommend this. It's so trippy. Don't start with season 3. Like, start at the beginning and go through. I think that's important.
Yeah.
And it is very episodic. Like, each episode, I think, adds something and builds something from the previous.
Yes. And the show is done. I mean, the finale is aired at this point.
Yes.
I mean, we're just reviewing the first episode as this water cooler thing. But definitely check it out. And I think once we have got all the way through it, we'll probably come back and maybe say a few more words on it. But that'll be later. Here's another show that came out this weekend. It's called Mindhunter Season 2.
Yes.
Picking up immediately from where it left off.
Yeah, absolutely.
In Season 1.
Yeah. Holden is in a hospital bed because he had a huge panic attack. Thankfully, he was in a hospital when he had a panic attack. And
he was in a psychiatric hospital, so they can provide hospital care, but like the doctor's telling him like, yeah, it's a panic attack, so take this Valium, and congratulations, you're like the first patient I've ever had who gets to walk out of here.
I know.
Because otherwise it's just Arkham Asylum, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah, we are back to it, hitting the ground running in a show where it seemed like the whatever they're called, the behavioral studies unit or whatever, always felt like it was on the verge of getting let go.
Yeah, absolutely.
We turn around and double down.
Yeah.
And their mean boss who was going after them for deleting the tapes or whatever is being retired. Being
forced to retire, we find out later.
Well, yeah, I mean, it always kind of felt like that, but he treats it like it's his decision to go fishing now.
Yeah.
And of course, we find out later that he was kind of pushed out because somebody had to fall on their sword, but they're going to get rid of him, but not the behavioral crimes unit. And we don't see like J. Edgar Hoover himself.
No.
Or somebody go, these guys have the right idea.
No.
But because of the movements of the administrative like drones and like middle management, we realize that somebody is in J. Edgar Hoover or whoever, the deputy director, is like, this is a good thing. Like, I think we are getting some good stuff out of this.
Right.
Because they immediately install new guy.
Yeah.
Bald guy.
I can't remember his name either.
The guy that plays, this isn't him, but the guy that plays Charlie Runkle or whatever on Californication, he looks like the dramatic version of that guy.
Okay.
Like that guy read, he's too funny, so we got this guy instead. And he's like this weird bald guy, and he knows about Holden's misdeeds.
Yes.
But instead he does a keep your enemies closer type thing and kind of puffs him up. And it seems like he's got a degree in psychology, don't you think?
Yeah, it kind of seems like he's working with, I will say, instead of playing.
Yeah.
With, what all of what he's got. He basically, gosh, I can't remember anybody else's name.
He goes to every member of the team except Gary. Sorry, Gary.
Yeah.
And basically tells them exactly what they want to hear. So he tells Holden, he tells Bill, like, well, you had some problems, but I'm going to smooth everything out. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
And keep an eye on Holden.
Yeah. I can tell that you are worried about him, so now your job is to look after him.
Yes.
And then he tells
keep him in line.
Dr. What's-Her-Name that, tell me about your dreams. Like, why'd you take this job? What do you want to do? I want to help you. I want to be a part of the Dr. What's-Her-Name experience.
Yeah.
And then he tells Holden, like, that he's a genius, and so he's clearly got everybody. Where are we going with this guy is what I'm saying. He's the Shadow King. Maybe he's the killer.
Oh, that would be a twist. I think he knows how to work with people and get what he wants.
Yeah, but in a show that is about people
manipulating
each other, people studying pathology while acting out their own pathologies, to have a character swoop in.
Yeah.
Because their last boss was like, I don't know what this brain stuff is. Can't we just kill pedophiles and put people in jail?
Right.
And this guy's like, yeah, okay. Oh, yeah. Interesting.
Like, he's on their side, like, right away. And, like, he's like, you guys are going to move over here. I'm going to give you all this money. I'm going to...
Right, but he's clearly manipulating them. You could say that he's just you say he's a people person. I say that he is playing to all their weaknesses and to their vanity.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he seems like he's like the perfect fit for being their boss and them moving forward. But
how'd you guys like a bigger office?
Right.
Yeah.
But I think that Bill, out of all of them, is, or maybe the doctor lady too, but I think that Bill is cautiously optimistic.
I'm glad to see Bill move into more of a lead role in this. I mean, we definitely followed him in the first season, but it felt like...
It was mostly Holden's show.
It felt like the best version of something that we've seen a lot, which is the trope of the tortured genius. So Holden has this idea and everybody's like, no, you're crazy. What are you talking about? And he's like, no, if we just figure out how these guys operate, then we can not only help them, but we can understand how to prevent them. And he's like this prodigy. And Bill is the one who represents all of the short sleeve Oxford shirt, rooster tie guys who they talk to.
Right.
But in this season, it's like, okay, well, you've had your little genius thing, and what happened? You flamed out, and you were flailing around on the floor of a psychiatric hospital.
Right.
Maybe experience is the way through this. And so Bill is picking up, like, this other side of it now. And I guess I shouldn't be ashamed. I'm not a big true crime guy, but the whole first season we keep cutting to the guy in glasses who's a weirdo.
Yeah.
I finally figured out, he's BTK.
Yeah,
he's the BTK killer.
Well, and I think what was confusing about that, but first of all, I mean, like, the show, they don't tell you who he is, and you just start seeing flashes of him.
Year.
Yeah, I know. You just start seeing flashes of him.
I was supposed to get Park City, Kansas, I guess.
Yeah, right. I guess there were some clues. But he, we kind of saw it as like somebody who was ramping up. But in the way that they're telling this, BTK has already killed 7 people.
Yeah.
So he's not ramping up.
We're seeing the... I think that the point of those segments is that we're just seeing, first of all, somebody who we will be seeing later, I guess.
Yes.
But also some, like, just the day-to-day, like, quotidian, like, existence of a guy who we're seeing the negative space. We're hearing the silence and not the notes.
Right.
Of this murderous jazz solo.
Right.
Whereas, I got to make sure I burn these drawings and I better buy some more rope. But we're not seeing, like, the people that he's killing. And
no,
raping.
We're not. And, like,
which is, like, a lot of restraint for a serial killer show.
Right.
Remember, the guy that created and directed the first 2 episodes of this, that did 7.
Okay.
But instead, we're not seeing the murders.
Yeah. And we see him in the first episode of this season. He was in, like, a mask and, like, a bra, and he was, like, asphyxiating himself or something like that in the bathroom, and his wife finds him, and she's, like, so freaked out that she runs away. And the next time we see him, he's sleeping on the couch, and she has given him books on sexual deviance to read.
Well, yeah, it just goes to show that that's a nice little grace note that nobody knows what to do with this. I mean, clearly somebody should have done something a long time ago because it has escalated to a certain point.
Yeah.
What do you think? Where do you think we're going with this? Fincher is no stranger to telling a story about people losing it as they study people who have lost it and don't ever have any resolution other than ding ding, can I help you? Just wanted to look at your face. You know, where are we going? Because BTK doesn't get caught until the mid-aughts. Are we going to go that far with Mindhunter? Or is he going to be one that got away? Where are we going? Or is it an alternate universe where they get him? Quentin Tarantino style.
Oh, boy.
Sick boy. Rah, rah, rips off his dick.
I kind of hope it's not an alternative universe because that seems like kind of a cop-out. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, if they flash forward in this season all the way to the 2000s when he gets caught.
Bill's dead.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're so much older then. And like, then do we just, oh, well, that's the end of Mindhunter. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I want them to skip ahead that much. Maybe he should be the one that gets away. Because I don't know, maybe I'm being selfish, but I already want another season of Mindhunter.
I haven't read the book that this is based on, so I don't know what connection the guy that wrote it has to, you know, the Holden Ford character might be the guy who gets all the information, and even if he doesn't personally bust BTK, it's how they get him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But maybe it's just that he is the most notorious and uncaught guy at this time.
Yes.
Because they're talking to, clearly you'll have people who will in the future be doing stuff like Jeffrey Dahmer, and whatnot. But maybe he's just the guy that's out there right now because they talk to David Berkowitz, they talk to Son of Sam.
Yeah, I know.
What I mean? So yeah, maybe he's just the guy that's out there. Of course, has the Golden State Killer done his thing yet?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, anyway, they got him.
Yeah.
And recently, very recently.
Okay.
Thanks to Patton Oswalt's first wife's work.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
In her book, but maybe we just don't have enough details to like make a series about that. So I don't know. I mean, clearly they're invested in this. It's not like every season we're going to focus on a new killer. Like this is the one.
Right.
There's something that they want to tell us about this.
Well, what do you want to see like in further episodes this season and maybe moving on to season 3 if there is a season 3?
I want more of what we are doing.
Okay.
Yeah, nailed it. Yeah, I want exactly, you know, what we're doing. It's a historical thing.
Yeah.
You know, Legion, the world could end. We don't know because there's no restrictions.
Right.
We have an idea of where this is going, and so all we can really do is see how our characters, you know, change or fall apart.
Right.
Doesn't look like Holden's girlfriend character is going to be in it anymore.
I don't think so.
Seems like the cat's gone.
I was curious about that, but yeah.
Is the cat gone?
Who has a cat?
The doctor leaves a tuna for the cat.
Oh gosh, I don't know if the cat's gone or not. We haven't seen her at home.
Just a joke.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so you asked me what I want to see.
Yeah.
I just want to see more of what we've already got, and I hope that we don't. And it's hard to not, but I hope that we don't. I don't know. This is the one thing that the show does where it's like, hey, look what we're doing, is when they go visit the serial killers. So it's like, this week, some character actor that we don't know is going to do their best to play Richard Speck or whatever.
Right.
And that's the most episodic or procedural that it gets. And as long as that remains the extent of its procedurality, fine. Yeah. Even though I don't, it's a little too procedural sometimes. Although
sometimes
one of the great strengths of this show is in the casting.
Oh, for sure.
People that cast it are a pair of people who have worked with Fincher on a lot of other projects, and the people they get are great. From the totally forgettable faces of the regional law enforcement officers that they talk to. It's just some new guy in a brush cut who you're never going to remember, but does a thankless job because they're totally convincing as this, you know, Kansas City police detective or whatever, who's haunted by this crime that he's seen.
Yeah.
To the people who play in various stages of fake noses and stuff, the famous killers who they talk to, people who are studied for years or have been on video, TV, we know these people,
right.
And yet they come in, like the guy that does the Ed Kemper is unbelievable.
I know.
And I'm not sure you could put him in, a romantic comedy or just some other thing. Like he could play a part, but like, it's like he was born to play that role. Like he's just perfect.
Yeah.
So, yeah, kudos.
Yeah. I think it's fantastic. And I think, just if you compare the show to Legion, you can do anything because it's not grounded in reality. Whereas this show is definitely grounded in reality because it's based on true events and actual killers. And I think it's fascinating to see how this team of people is putting things together and how we change to capture serial killers, and that's like a new phenomenon in it of itself, and just like what all the psychology that goes into that.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what show is perfectly cast as well. It's a show called Lodge 49.
Yes.
Which is back for its second season.
Mm-hmm.
Back against all odds. I mean, it was announced as the first one was wrapping up that there'd be a second. But I feel like this entire show it's unlikely that it exists, period. It's extra unlikely that it got a second season. Okay.
Well, I'm glad that it did because it's a great show. And it's definitely character driven. And in the same as Mindhunter, we come in and we start, and our main character is in a hospital bed because he got attacked by a shark at the end of last season. But he has like kind of like this trippy like vision and stuff like that too. So like
no, come on.
No,
we don't have to explain Mindhunter because everybody knows what Mindhunter is.
Yeah, I know.
I appreciate you taking the wheel, but drive us where we want to go.
All right.
Take us to A&W, not to the vet.
Okay, so
because my cat loves going to A&W.
Okay, stop it. So it's all about Lodge 49, which is kind of a how would you describe it? It's not.
I'll describe it by doing the entire thing for you.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Lodge 49 is about Dud. He's an ex-surfer who was bitten by a snake, and it has hurt his leg, and it's a wound that won't heal. And so he lives in, I don't know, Palo Alto or... No, not even that. Just...
Long Beach?
Yeah, he just lives in like an underdeveloped, part of LA with his sister, who is an underachieving, like genius who works at Shamrocks or whatever. She works at a titty sports bar, basically.
Yep.
And it's about their lives. If that doesn't sound fun, well, it's about to get weird. Dud is at the end of his rope. His dad has disappeared, apparently drowned. While surfing, and so their pool business is closed.
Yep.
And he is at the end of his rope, and his car breaks down in front of a building. He goes in to use the phone, and he finds out that the building it's not really the Masons, but it's like a lodge. It's like a Masonic lodge of a community organization called Lodge 49. And he meets a guy named Ernie, who is an older guy who is similarly down in his luck, who sells plumbing fittings, basically.
Yes.
And he is a member of this lodge, which itself is nothing strange. It's a bunch of people, in their middle-aged people who go there for drinks, basic free drinks, unlimited bar tabs, and they do lotto and weddings in the
main hall.
In the main hall on the weekends.
Yeah.
Everybody just living their lives.
Yes.
But the entrance of Dud into this community begins to change it, like a rock dropping into water.
Yes,
and
that's
so
a good way of putting it.
Dud is sort of like a Lebowski light type character.
Yes.
Who's just sort of chilling and kind of looking for that to ride that wave of life, but he keeps having all these rocks and shoals thrown in his way. Mm-hmm. He, like I said, disrupts the community of the lodge. We go into the different sort of lives and peccadillos of the different inhabitants of the lodge. And then something happens. Dud discovers a hidden room in the lodge, which is of interest to, and I can't remember real people's names, so I can't remember characters' names anymore. But the David Parchesi character,
isn't he Blaze, or that's what they call him?
Yeah. He is. He runs like the local dispensary, but it's like a dispensary / like homeopathy stuff.
Yeah,
and he considers himself sort of a new age alchemist.
Yes,
they find all these papers of the founder of the lodge back in the 1900s, which is a sort of Joseph Smithy kind of, esoteric, mystical mysteries type thing. And he doesn't believe it. He believes in it and metaphorically that there's some sort of answer for life and spirituality.
Yeah.
And Dud needs something like that. And so he gets involved in that. And it's all down. The first season is all down to Ernie trying to find Captain, who is this mythical, in a different way, figure in the sort of development and like pipe fitting world. Yeah. And if he can get in a room with Captain, he can sell him on like getting the good leads or whatever.
Yes.
The show is all about chance and all about like, is it all? Are we the masters of our fate, or are we all floating on the whims of chance and destiny?
Right. Right.
And so basically, Ernie and Dud both find themselves in the presence of Captain. Dud because he was assigned to work for him as a temp, and Ernie because he's gone on this long jeremiad, like this odyssey throughout like the valley to find this guy, and then finally finds him. It's Bruce Campbell. Bruce Campbell is Captain, and they hit it off with Captain, but things kind of go upside down as far as the Captain thing goes, and it leaves Ernie basically screwed as far as the business side of it goes. Also, Larry, the former head, sovereign protector of the lodge, has been sort of in and out, but he finally dies, which thinks, okay, that's the end of that. But instead, nope, there's a whole thing that he was involved in with El Confidente in Mexico, apparently finding the true, scrolls of the lodge. Beginning season 2, we don't know if this is bullshit yet.
I know.
I have a feeling that it will be, but it won't matter. It'll be the kind of thing where it means what it means to you, like art, like Lodge 49, the show. And so, what do you do in a second season? How do you come back? How do you now? You shot your shot. How do you keep it going? And how do you commoditize it? How do you make it something that we can come back to week after week? It's fine to have 6 episodes of The British Office, but how do you make it 9 years of The Office?
Right.
How do you think they're doing?
I think they're doing okay.
You like the family that takes over the pool shop?
Oh, they're complete assholes.
This is where it's too far for me.
Oh, okay.
So having Dud get bit by a shark to wrap up season 1. Having his sister be at a corporate retreat on a boat on a cruise, and then basically like
jumping
just
overboard.
Go, I don't want to do this anymore, and just jump off and swim a mile to shore.
Yeah, I know.
And everybody be like, what happened? We thought the police were looking for you.
Yeah.
That's all believable. But like for me, the family that takes over the pool shop
too far.
Are cartoon characters.
Oh yeah, they are. I mean, the father is just a jerk.
Yeah.
The wife is just kind of yes-anding him, and then the son is just a dud. I mean, his name.
Careful.
Okay, he's not a dud because he's not Dudley. But he is a nothing. His name is Bowie, which just reminds me of a physical buoy out in the ocean.
Cartoon characters.
Yeah. And I'm
worried.
I'm worried too. He doesn't talk much, and when he does, it's vulgar, and I just want to smack him. I don't like him at all. And he takes up 2 parking spots with his ridiculous pool party truck. And then at the end of the episode, we see Dud like stealing his stuff, and the guy who has his now yellow Jeep helping him.
Yeah. Having the quote unquote law provider show up.
Oh my gosh.
Mary Elizabeth Ellis, known as she's been on Always Sunny and New Girl and some other stuff. Having her show up as the overly gesticulating lawyer who's explaining to Dud like that it's his money and he wants it now.
Right.
That seems like we need a character from the spin the character bingo wheel and see what comes out.
Yeah.
And then, of all people, Bronson Pinchot as Dr. Kimborough. Yeah. Liz's boss now that she's working for Tempjoy.
Yes.
What's going on there?
I just love the temp agency's called Temp Joy.
The first season to me came by its quirkiness, honestly, in that there was a note of melancholy. Like,
yes,
we meet this woman who, is the last middle manager working for Orbis or whatever the company is that's shutting down.
Right.
And so she's firing everybody, and then Dud gets a job working for her as a temp. And, he's not very ambitious, but he can basically do this job, which is sending out severance packets to people.
Yes.
And then naturally, he's just a warm and friendly person. It's exactly who this person who is, thinking about putting strychnine in her coffee is looking to find. They fall into bed together because, of course, they do.
Yeah.
But then it becomes this, neither of them, for different reasons, are people who should be in or can sustain a relationship. And then it sort of falls apart. Like, that was fine. Having, you need your money and you need it right now. Like, that's okay. I mean, this is the, what is it? This is the cartooning of the show, isn't it?
No, I get what
Bronson
you're
Pinchot
saying.
comes in and is like, you got to shred all these documents right now.
Yeah, I know.
She's the monster. It's like, all right. And then it opens with what is apparently a flashback and not a dream. Paul Giamatti,
I know,
as the writer, jumping out of an airplane that's crashing with Ernie and Dud on board.
And then there's somebody
They're
else.
doing a real Breaking Bad here.
Yeah, and then there's somebody else who's in like the world costume.
How did the bear get in the
whatever.
super pool?
Yeah, I know.
Super pool, in the swimming pool.
In the swimming pool. No, I agree with you. And it's really, really out
Don't
there.
lose the plot.
Right?
Lodge 49. You were about a surfer who got bit by a snake and hangs around a donut shop. That's what the movie was about. Now, if you point to the guy that Jim Gavin is the guy that wrote and like created this. I've never heard of him.
Yeah.
This is the title's a reference to Crying of Lot 49. So he's a Pynchon fan. He's in the Brotherhood. Great. But where's he going to take it? Can he handle a second? I'm worried.
I understand.
I put this in the Star Trek box for things I'm worried about.
Yeah, no, I get why you're worried because like the Paul Giamatti thing, which is a flashback, it's just so freaking out there.
Yeah.
And I don't know how. I can't see right now how they're going to connect all the dots to get to there.
But what I always liked about this show, and if I was a studio head, I'd probably be saying the opposite of what I'm saying right now.
Okay.
What I always liked about it was I had no idea where it was going or if it would ever get there, but I was willing to take the journey. I was willing to ride in the thing to get there. Now we've got, it's almost like they went, okay, give us a really goofy thing and then show us how we get there. So we know goofy thing's coming up.
Right.
I don't need that.
No.
That's not why I came to this show.
No. And I mean, we know starting the show is quirky, but there's
I hate that word.
You don't like that word?
It's real. The show's real, man. Now, if you go by its sort of Northern Star, which I think is The Big Lebowski, other than Thomas Pynchon novels.
Right.
There are nihilists who believe in nothing, and there are ridiculous things that happen. The most ridiculous being dream sequences, which this show also seems to want to do.
Yeah, I know.
So instead of like, flying under Viking ladies' legs on a bowling alley, he's in a diorama, seeing like these Masonic kind of images and stuff. So it's like, fine, keep the quirky to the dream sequences, have their real lives be terrible because they're selling their TV for gin money, basically.
I know. And then, like, I love how he gets the lawyer lady, and then he just goes immediately to the pawn shop. And he's like, this is basically guaranteed.
Yeah, but that is great. Every single one of these things, the more you look into it, like Blaze, the more you... Oh, I just got that. The more you can see in these signs and portents, because whenever a character thinks... Like, Dud is not cursed with a lot of self-introspection.
No, he's not.
And so whenever he feels like he's up, he immediately goes to the pawn shop and sells his birthright to the guy for something that he will definitely have to get in trouble for later.
Yes.
So the pawn shop guy is like the devil, like he's this person that you make this deal with that you should not make. And like the devil, he doesn't lie. He tells you what it is. He's like 40% on this loan or whatever. It's an insane rate. Yeah. And Dud's just like, yeah, okay. And then give me this TV or give me the owl clock. Like he feels like he's getting one over on you for some piece of junk, and the devil's like, all right, fine, whatever.
I know, and it's like, what are you doing, Dud? Why do you need that really ugly clock?
Well, he wants to get, but it's this little. He wants to give it to the donut girl.
I know, for saving his life.
Yeah, and so it's like this little gesture of which itself isn't like. I don't want to say it's thoughtless, but it isn't really considered. It's just he has this idea.
He's like, I need to give her something.
Yeah, but he doesn't think about what she would really want.
Right.
And he also doesn't think about what kind of financial responsibility he's entering into for this little thing.
Yeah.
And so it's like, let's keep doing that.
Yeah.
Not to the point where it becomes, oh, here we go. Here's the formula. But instead, we've got a whole cast of crazy new characters.
Yeah, I know.
Why can't we learn more about Repo Man? Why can't we learn more about... I'll take more about Liz's boss, who, now that Shamrocks is closed, is also working at Tempjoy.
I know.
Let's go into Tempjoy guy's life.
Yeah.
What does he think about all these people who come in and tell him their crazy stories, and then he's got to get them a filing job somewhere?
Right.
It will Cheech Marin be back?
I think he will. I'm hoping he will. I mean, him with his crazy van. I hope to see that again.
Yeah. So, come keep it together. Keep it together, Lodge 49. You can do this.
Well, and I was kind of surprised seeing him on the plane that Cheech Marin wasn't there. Like, I thought he would be there with them. So, I don't know. Hopefully he's there. I think he was a good addition to the show. And the mystery of the scrolls.
Careful.
Yeah.
You get sued by Bethesda.
Which didn't the Sovereign Protector, didn't he lose them in a gambling game or something like that?
Yeah. He was
yeah.
Larry was he lived his life like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very nice way of putting it.
Well, you can thank Van Halen and Mr. David Lee Roth for that.
But yeah, I really enjoy this show. I think it's really unique in a lot of ways, and I'm glad I got a second season. I guess we'll see where it ends and see if there'll be a season 3. What do you think?
I think that you should predict where it's going to go.
I think they're going to go try to find the scrolls, and I kind of hope they're successful, but it kind of seems like they won't be. And I don't know how they get on this plane, but I hope they land well. With their one parachute. Where do you think it's gonna go?
What happened to the guy who was like the spy?
Oh yeah, I think he just ran away.
Okay.
I don't know if we're gonna see that guy again.
But who was he working for?
I think he was just working for himself. Wasn't he like the bus driver or something like that?
So we don't know. Oh boy.
We don't know a lot about him.
No, the whole there is no smoking man in this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
there is like a sort of meta narrative. We know that, and it's probably like a lot of the mysteries on the show will end up being incredibly mundane. But we know that there is something weird going on in the lodge because there's the head office or whatever that people keep going to.
Yes.
And then, so that guy came and he was infiltrating, and I thought he was working for somebody, but I guess he was just...
I think he was just
curious trying to get in there to see what was...
Yeah, I think he was, obsessed with the lodges, and, just wanted to learn more.
It's just about... The whole show is just about people's desires, made manifest, like turning lead into gold.
Right.
People trying to see their longings, become real. And finding out that they're not quite what they thought they were.
And I think the interesting thing about the spy character is he seemed to know a lot. He seemed to be the legit thing. So, he must have studied a lot up on it to be able to pull that off, for so long. And then the real guy shows up and then he, runs away.
Yeah. Do you think we'll see beaten up homeless guy?
I don't know. Maybe she'll see him again and he'll shame her again.
It's taco time, lady bitch.
Right?
All right. Well, that was good. I'm full of water. So much water.
Oh, so much water. We stayed by the
I feel
water
like
cooler
if you
for a
flip
long
my thumb
time.
down, oh, careful.
Uh-oh.
Water's going to come out.
Uh-oh.
Get your paper cups.
Oh, my God.
But, yeah, you need a lot of them. But, yeah, that's our little water cooler talk about some of these great shows, all of which I think we would recommend.
Yes, absolutely.
So check them out. If you want to talk about shows like that with us, you can on Facebook and Twitter at Just Enough Trope. And you can also find our Discord, which has been announced.
Yes.
So check that out. If you get there and it is just an empty wasteland, have faith and have hope.
Yes.
We'll definitely be joining you soon. I just want to say that, like, I don't even know what the figures are or what you should even look for a in terms of a rating anymore.
Okay.
But like the premiere of Lodge 49 had a 0.2 0.25 rated.
That seems low.
Yeah, 250,000 people watched it. So I would not be looking for a season 3 from Lodge 49. So hopefully they can wrap it up with this plane crash or whatever. But we'll see. But anyway, yeah, join us on social media. Subscribe to our show if you haven't yet on your listening platform of choice, because that's the best way to find it. Also subscribe to other shows in the Just Enough Trope Pantry. Let's say pantry. In the Just Enough Trope Pantry. Shows like Enterprising Individuals, Craft Disservices, which is making a return. I swear to crap.
Yes.
It is definitely coming back. We are working on some stuff right now to release that show. Go to our Patreon and get signed up so you can get all of our new content coming there. And also check out Virtual Theater at Virtual Theater X on Twitter, because they've got some great stuff happening over there. Yes. When you follow all those shows, review them as well. Give us a nice review so people know that we're doing a good job, and also that we want to hear what you think that we should be doing in the future.
That's right.
Suggestions from you, and give us a rating while you're at it. The most important part, because computers only know numbers, and they know numbers from 1 to 5. So give us 5 surfboards.
Sure.
Is Dud ever going to surf again?
I wouldn't be surprised. He seemed actually like really optimistic about the shark
That's
fight.
what I loved about. Well, no, before he got bit, he was optimistic.
Yeah, because
they had all the characters had in their own way reached this sort of equilibrium. You know, Liz had paid off all her debts.
Yes.
Dud had chased down the sort of scrolls thing or whatever, and things looked kind of good on that end.
Yes.
I think he'd finally stopped visiting his old house.
Yes.
So, and then he's like, I'm going to get out there and surf. I haven't done it in a year. And he gets bitten by a shark.
I know.
Which seems like the biggest, you're flying the highest, you can fall the farthest. But
I know.
But he bounced back pretty quick.
Yeah, he did.
So anyway, we want to bounce back too. I don't know what that means. So give us 5 stars and we would appreciate it. And we'll be back next week to talk about something else. And until then, I'm signing off as your host, Caliban.
I'm your co-host, Mikan Hana.
Keep the geek fires burning.